friendship, and of course, food. Um, I want to raise it high and toast all you beautiful faces. And I want you to turn to your Zoom neighbors, do a little cheer, and say hello. Give some love. We're toasting to your health, your family, our friendship, and our community, and how much we love each other. We're gonna get through this. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 5th annual Gala, API Forward Heritage Gala fundraiser, coming to you live via Zoom. I am so happy to see so many of your beautiful faces here, and I hope that all of you are well and your loved ones are safe. My name is Shapan Salapasai Okamura. I'm a partner with Morandis Salapasai Garcia, and I'm a big supporter of API Forward and their work and their leadership. I'm excited to be here tonight serving as your MC to help share the work of this organization and its hopes for our future. We need more diverse voices in leadership roles, and API Forward is committed to developing leaders among Asian and Pacific Islanders. Normally, we would be doing this at a restaurant, eating delicious food and having drinks, 1, 2, some of us 3. Though we can't be physically together, we are a strong and resilient community. And tonight, we come together in this virtual space of love and friendship to support the next generation of rising leaders and to help raise funds as API Forward moves on to help educate our next generation. I want to take this moment to remember and honor those in our Asian Pacific Islander communities and other communities of color who have been affected by the COVID pandemic, and many of us have been touched by loss. And it's also important, I really want to acknowledge and give a shout out to our friends, our brothers, and our sisters in the Black community who are continuing to stand up to injustice, tyranny, and hatred. Tonight, it's about empowering young generations of leaders who will continue to fight for justice. You'll get a chance to meet some of these up and coming leaders and hear their story. As we move through tonight's program, use the chat box. I know all of you love to text with emojis, and I want your hands on those buttons. Share your thoughts, your experience, send encouragements, your words of wisdom. Please share with me your love. Of course, as you all know, tonight, this is a fundraiser. That means this is an opportunity for all of us who work collectively to open your hearts and your wallets and to give what you can. One of those ways is to take part on the silent auction that will be tonight. Of course, as you know, our theme's food, fun, and friendship, so many of that will be involved. If you haven't had a chance to check out the items yet, I highly encourage you to do that. To make up for the fact that we're not dining together and eating delicious food together, many of the online auction items involves food. You hear that? Food. Many of them homemade with a lot of love in it. Recipes that you don't normally get, so please check it out. The link to the auction item site is being posted in the chat box. Please take a look and do what you can to help support. As we continue, I want to give a big shout out to our big supporter, Port of Portland, for sponsoring the gala and for their continued work to enhance equity, inclusion in the workplace, which is so needed right now as we go through all of that we're experiencing under COVID. The money raised tonight and from the online auction goes to support API Forward's signature program, the Forward Leadership Program. It is a 4-month-long leadership program for API college students in Oregon and Southwest Washington. Students selected to be in the program work with a community-based organization on an equity-based initiative. Through this process, students learn what it takes to be an emerging leader in the community. Students are rewarded with scholarship money at the end of the program, but they also, most importantly, are encouraged to give back by volunteering to various nonprofits and using their leadership to support our community. In the 2 years that the Ford Leadership Program has been around, look at these beautiful 11 faces. I want you to recognize them. These are the outstanding students who have successfully completed this program. And it's important. I know you love me and you love seeing my beautiful face, but let's hear from some of these API Forward students. Woo woo! Feel free to give them love, you guys.
My name is Lena Way, and I am an API Forward Scholarship recipient. One of the biggest lessons I have learned through the API Forward program was to adapt, implement changes, and adapt yet once again. The world is constantly changing. People's and customers' needs are constantly changing. Therefore, it is important to keep in mind that to adapt and change and be welcome to new ideas.
My name is Danica Gaskin, and I'm going to be talking about why it is important to be both a compassionate and well-rounded leader. A compassionate person understands each person of the team and are willing to help each team member fulfill their duties. They show compassion by caring, and this is important to develop a strong bond with each team member, because a well-rounded leader is direct, driven, and understands the goal of the team and the team's vision. You need both sides to be a great leader.
Hello, my name is Dawa Gelpo, and I'm a rising senior at the University of Oregon and a Forward Leadership Program scholar. Throughout our project, I experienced the importance of communication, relationships, and self-motivation. I think that as the pandemic hit, it was especially difficult to start scheduling events and contacting different community members, but this program did a wonderful job of motivating us students through different guest speakers and having a community for us to rely on for both professional and personal support.
Thank you, leaders. What do you all think about their message? Please share your emojis. I see your hands being raised. You can clap. We love seeing them. And these are very, very important times as we are virtual and we're doing everything via Zoom to continue to be engaged, to show support, love, and continue our friendships from a distance. This year, the Forward Leadership Program partnered with Asian Pacific American Network of Oregon, many of you know it as APANO, on the project focus on the 2020 US Census. This is one of the most important things that we've had to do. 9 scholars were selected from all over Oregon. They formed 3 teams, and with the guidance of a mentor, they conducted community outreach to support the accurate count of our API communities and other communities of color. This is important because oftentimes our communities are not counted, and especially with concept of multi-generational household. They were phenomenal in that process. Board members and co-founders, Tracy Lamb, I see you, we love you. In here is to help us get to know 3 of this year's scholar and to learn more about their experience. Take it, Tracy.
Thank you, Champone, and thank you all for being here. So great to see all your beautiful faces. So I am really pleased to have 3 of our scholars from this year's Forward Leadership Program tonight. They represent each of the 3 teams, as Champone mentioned. And I gotta tell you, while I was preparing for this segment, I got a chance to chat with each one of them and get to know them better, and could tell from their poise and their answers that they've grown quite a bit since we first met in November of last year during their interviews. So let me introduce them to you right away and get to it. We have Siobhan Wu. He just finished his first year at University of Portland and pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Nursing with a minor in Neuroscience. We have Anya T. She'll be starting her 3rd year at Oregon State University, majoring in political science and public policy. And then we have Sean Wade. He just wrapped up his senior year at Portland State University, majoring in health science. So thank you all for being here. This first question goes to all 3 of you. What are some of the characteristics of leadership that you've learned through this program? So let's start with Anya, and then we'll go to Sean and Siobhan. So Anya?
Hi everyone. I'm Anya. I think a really important characteristic, probably the most important characteristic that you could find in a leader is humbleness. I think humility is so important because no one person has all the answers. We don't know everything all the time, and it's important to be able to rely on your community and your other team members. It's really important to ask questions and get to know what people's needs so you can serve them to the best of your ability.
Great, thank you. Sean?
So there's a quote that I found, it was from Michael P. Watson from a book. That's a leader, strong people don't put others down, they lift them up. So this quote really resonated with me, as I kind of saw this as a leader is not one who is not, just pulling the rope. They are leading others and someone who can lift other people's up. And I was able to draw similarities to I've coached tennis before with young children, and like coaching, it's trying to find that balance between making sure people have fun and making sure that that kids especially listen to you. So yeah, that's it for me.
I love that. Thank you, Sean. And Siobhan?
Hi, everyone. So some of the characteristics of leadership that I have learned through this experience of going through API Forward was the importance of being concise and straight to the point, communication, teamwork, and finding individual strengths in order to succeed overall. For example, one of my team members, Yuman, was amazing at marketing. My other team member, Dawa, was amazing at being creative and organizing and kind of reaching out and branching out. Whereas I was more data driven and focusing on like organizational skills. We found a way to, through our communication, to really make sure that our strengths complemented each other instead of, in what I see a lot in other teams growing up in school projects is that, they fight against each other, but just again, working to the point communication and just working together. That's one of the big things I learned through API Forward.
Great, thank you all. Those are wonderful insights. This next question goes directly to Sean. Sean, your team, the healthcare professionals, lost a teammate in the middle of the project due to some unfortunate circumstances. This meant that some of the work that had been divided among the three of you now had to be taken on by just two. What did you gain from this experience, and how will you apply this experience in the future?
Oh, so when we found out when we lost a teammate, it was really negatively affected us and kind of threw us in a whirl. But in the end, we learned how to build off each other and stay positive and keep our heads up. And as teammates, I think it's really useful to make sure that each of you are in the right mindset and staying positive. And we did whatever we could to navigate around this, and we literally talked to each other and was like, oh, we can't control what their other individual and teammate who had left, and we cannot control their actions, and we can only control our response. So therefore, creating more drama would make it more stressful for both of us. And in the future, I would use this experience to definitely better communicate with others and just definitely persevere and despite the challenges.
Yeah, sounds like it was a valuable experience gained, and I appreciate you and your teammates persevering through that. So thank you. This next question is for Siobhan. Siobhan, our paths crossed even before you applied for the Forward Leadership Program. So I know that your interest is in healthcare and that you want to become a nurse. However, you had said that the experience you had with the Forward Leadership Program and the U.S. Census Project provided you with a different perspective that will impact your future career in healthcare. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, definitely. I'd be glad to share. So, through this experience, I learned the interconnectedness of community and businesses. Before joining, I wasn't really aware of how interconnected the economy and community were. I really had no background or curiosity about how businesses worked and their impact on the community. Through this experience and having to work with various CBOs, I now understand that one of the ways to advocate for the health of a community population is through business and representation, and how it's important for different cultures to contribute. It was an important lesson for me, and now I'm interested in actually pursuing research with regards to nursing and clinical care, and maybe even starting my own lab for the sake of supporting API youth in my community someday. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Anya, this question is for you. This project provided challenges for all the teams, as we've heard. For you, though, the challenge was a personal one, and it even started on day one of the program. Take us back to that day in mid-January and tell us why that was a challenge and how you have changed since then.
Yeah, so I'm a fairly introverted person. I've been pretty shy my whole life. My mom was definitely worried for me when I was a kid because I didn't talk that much. But on that first day when we met everyone at the conference, we were given, I believe, we were given 5 minutes to choose our teams. When I was coming into the program, I thought I'd be assigned one. I didn't think I would have to find my team members. So everyone immediately started interviewing each other and asking each other questions, and I just felt so lost because I was so outside of my comfort zone. But eventually I ended up partnering with Tammy Tran and Alina Way, and I'm really grateful that I got to meet them and share this experience with them. But I think that was a really important moment for me because it forced me to talk to other people, and it showed me the importance of networking and making professional connections. And that's something that your degree or your many professional experiences might not be able to get you as far as networking within your community can. And I think as a young woman of color, it's really important for me to reach out to my community and seek other professionals. I want to go to law school someday, and I want to become an immigration lawyer. And going to law school and being a lawyer, both of those are very white and male dominated fields. And I think networking and then also self-advocating will be really, really important for me right now. And then as I get older and I need to lean on those around me. So I think being in this program has really made me grow as a person and a professional.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And we're all very proud of the progress you've made too. And the next question goes to Sean and Anya. Each team was supported by a mentor who volunteered to help and guide you through the process. During the presentation of your project, your team mentioned specifically the role your respective mentors played. Can you share what they did that made a difference to you personally? Let's start with Sean.
Our mentor was Talk. I don't know if she's in here, but she offered a lot of encouragement to me and Danica, despite losing our other teammate. And this definitely made a huge difference. Sometimes we'd have meetings and the other participant that dropped out wouldn't show up, and it would definitely bring that aura of kind of negativity and like, what do we do from here? But Talk definitely kept our chins up and just like, keep your heads up, let's keep doing this. And she stayed really positive, and I kind of relate this to my experiences and of playing tennis, and like in doubles, you can have like a mistake or something, but like you can be very hard on yourself, you can bash yourself all you want, but if you have that one partner there who's like always got your back and stays positive, they definitely keep your chin up and make sure you don't keep moving forward. And that's exactly what we did.
That's a great analogy. Anya?
So our mentor for our team was actually a councilwoman in the city of Salem, and she had a lot of really great prior experience because of like where she worked that helped us, that helped guide our work as API scholars. Most of yeah, I believe none of us had really any experience prior before working with like community-based organizations and then also working with things like the census. So whenever we were confused or hit a major roadblock, we would be able to go to our mentor and she'd be able to tell us what to do from there. So one of the things that we had an issue with was, where are the Asian Pacific Islanders? A lot of our counties that we were given, they're not as populated with Asian Pacific Islanders compared to Portland or the Portland metro area. So our mentor told us to first look at the old census, calm down, and then adjust our expectations. And yeah, it was really helpful. It definitely was definitely like a calming presence, I think, that we really needed.
Yeah, and I just wanted to publicly thank all of the mentors. I don't know if I see them here, but Jackie, Tak, Mohammed, and Philip, thank you so much for volunteering your time and providing this program and our scholars valuable insight and support. So thank you to all the mentors out there as well. This next question goes to Siobhan. Siobhan, earlier in our conversation, you talked about the importance of communications. Please elaborate on the role that it played on your project, what you learned from that, and how you intend to use this insight for your future career in healthcare.
Yeah, so with my group, initially when we started reaching out to different community-based organizations, we weren't really organized about our messaging and didn't lay out concrete instructions. And so eventually we started to realize this halfway through the program. We revised our messaging to state the importance of the census and had form instructions. We laid out sort of a moral story and guideline and deadline, and Yuman and Dawa, I would say especially, were great at creating this story about, you know, why is the census important for generational wealth, for example. And so that taught us to be organized and intentional in our messaging and to the point as well, because at first we had too much information and too much text in our marketing materials. And since I'm planning to be a nurse, this experience will overall help me to overcome communication barriers between me and patients, because many times, you know, I'll know a lot more information than patients, but I can't just bombard them with a bunch of information and start sounding like a textbook. I need to be able to relate to them and their humanity, and also be able to boil things down to what's really important, and helping them understand what might be confusing and stressful medical situations.
Great, thank you. Our last question goes to all of you. So our theme for the virtual gala is about celebrating our diverse cultures. Can each of you please share one thing from your culture that is special or poignant for you? Let's start with Sean.
The special thing I picked from my culture was cuisine, and being of Vietnamese descent, there's so much variety and so much culture behind the food that is they put on the table. It's just not just pho, or it can just be like banh mi. It's like has French origins, and there's a bunch of different origins from what their food comes from. So I think it's a place where it's food that I grew up with, and it's definitely like A+ right there. Like if anything, definitely give it a try. And then there's always different like taste palettes, and I'm definitely a big food guy. So let me know if you have questions.
Great, thank you. Siobhan?
Yeah, sure. So something about my culture that is special to me is resilience. Cambodia is a country that has really been through many periods of conflict and darkness if you look through the story of its history. But in the end, the people have always stood out on top. And there's this sort of stereotype among the Southeast Asian community that we Cambodians, because of our unusually large displays of festivities at our traditional Buddhist ceremonies, that we're a loud community. And I think the stereotype reflects a bit of truth that we, even though through hard times, we know how to keep to our traditions and express our joy and celebrations with one another through community. I think it's an important thing to hang on to, you know, not only resilience, but also how to thrive while being resilient.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Anya?
Yeah, like Cambodia, the Philippines has also been through so much. So what I would consider to be special about Philippines and the Filipino culture is the idea of Filipino resilience. We've survived colonialism, imperialism, military occupation, fascism. Right now, it's ongoing. And I think it's really important that I let that guide my work. There are so many Filipino revolutionaries that I admire, and I try to like put that into my life, and ask myself, how can I serve my community? How can I serve Filipino Americans? How can I serve Filipinos who are overseas Filipino workers? And how do I serve Filipinos who are still living in the Philippines right now? And I think a part of Filipino resilience is that I also need to remember all the people who didn't survive and who have been lost and didn't have the opportunity to thrive. So that's what I find really special about my culture. The people who made it, the people who haven't, and the kids like me right now who look up to our ancestors and are trying to make our way through this world. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Siobhan, Sean, and Anya. It truly has been a pleasure to talk with you and learn more about you. You bring me so much hope and joy for the future. And truly, I have learned a lot from all three of you. So thank you so much. And please do keep in touch, because I have a feeling that I have a lot to learn more from all three of you. So thank you again. Shanpon, back to you.
Thank you, Tracy, and congratulations, Anya, Siobhan, and Sean, and also to all your team members and your mentors, because the work that you guys have done in ensuring accurate census data count, this work for the next 10 years will literally save lives. And I want you guys to know that. And for all of us in the audience, including myself, you guys are wise beyond your years. Just hearing you speak, your heart, your passion, just the way that you are looking at changing the world with the experience of your ancestors' histories, it's beautiful. I just literally want to give you guys all a hug right now. So virtual hug. Everyone, virtual hug. I want to see your arms moving. This is Zoom love at its best. You know, we can't see each other, but I love seeing your smiles and your words. I'm so proud of you. I feel like so moved. Tonight, as we continue, audience member, as this is an interactive, right? So as we talked about food, you know, food is love. For Tracy, Ping, and I, when we get together, like there's no meeting without food. So I want you audience members to actually write for us, because this is about you too. What is your favorite food? When you think food and you think love and friendship, what comes to mind? The first thing, throw it out there, because you people, your family, and we love each other. So I need to know what I have to cook for you when we're together, okay? So as we move forward, type those in. And not only are these students this brilliant and this loving, this caring, but they are also some of the most creative people we've ever met. All right. So I want to share with you, and in this moment, I want to introduce to you David Pan, one of our API Forward board members, to join me and help introduce our next leader, and to talk a little bit about the poet and the poem that has been written. So David, can you please help me take this away?
Yes, Siobhan, thank you for the introduction. And today we are delighted to have one of our 2024 Leadership Program Scholars, Siobhan. As you have heard him talk, he's very insightful. And his poem here is published as the editor's choice in the Writers Magazine by the University of Portland earlier this year. Thank you for joining us, Siobhan. And So I've read your poem and I really enjoyed the rich history and the personal sentiment that you put in your verses. Now, we've heard some background from you, like we know now that you're a Khmer American from Cambodia, background with Cambodia, and we know that you're currently a freshman starting nursing at the University of Portland. But could you provide other details of yourself so that we can use those details to kind of hear what you have in the poem later?
Of course, David. Thank you for having me. So, as you mentioned, I'm a Khmer descent first generation student in America. Growing up, I grew up listening to stories about my family and their struggles that they experienced during the Khmer Rouge regime and during the killing fields and surviving as refugees. I aspire to become a nurse to serve communities that are disproportionately affected by trauma. And more specifically, I'm also interested in learning about the LGBTQ youth and survivors and refugees of war.
Awesome. That's so interesting. I love your aspirations as well. And I know that we will notice some of these background details in the poem, and I hope everybody catches it. Now, without further ado, if you could read your poem for us, thank you.
Sure thing. So I have my book handy right here. So my poem is called The Blood of Rivers. I am from the blood of the Mekong, marked by the oil that flows out of the Buffalo Bayou. I am the scent of Buddhist incense. I am enlightened with Catholic candles. I am red, white, and blue, yet not only Star-Spangled Banner, but Angkor Wat too. I grew up on tales of genocide, of a time when the Mekong flowed red with war. And now I choose to be a healer and lover because I fear for what hatred can smother. Yet my veins still flow red in color. It knew not to yield, that red which slew colonists, that red which flew for the decrees of Lady Liberty, that red which flows deep within me, that red which informs my soul. I am who I am, for my blood knows plenty. From crossing among many, it knows not to yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Very powerful. I personally really love the imageries that you painted and would love to learn more. Could you tell everyone a little bit about the details of the poem that you have there?
Sure. So this poem actually was originally an activity at the January Student Conference with the API Forward team. And it was specifically Michelle DePass who prompted us to write a poem about something about our story, which inspired me to write from my heart. And ultimately, I began college I began college again after winter break was over, and I revisited this work for an English assignment. And my English teacher actually encouraged me to polish it and publish it because he saw a lot of value in what I had to say. And my intention for this poem was to inspire those who come from a similar background as myself. You see, my story involves being a descendant of refugees, and I'm sure this is a story that might be a story that's too common, but Cambodia was a region that has a history of war, and first, the Vietnam War bled into the nation due to US air bombers not being able to distinguish borders. Then from all the bombing by the United States, a power vacuum from the destabilized political structure allowed a regime to take hold, and one that proved oppressive and extremist, known today as the Khmer Rouge era, and infamously known for the killing fields. My parents arrived to this country with very little resources and few professional connections. And I ultimately grew up in a classroom where my culture often felt like it clashed with the predominant American one. And whenever I faced microaggressions which exacerbated these clashes, I was often confronted with this question, who am I, American or Cambodian? This poem is meant to serve as an affront to that dichotomy. And with it, I argue that instead I can be both, and that, well, I am who I am, for my blood, my ancestors knew plenty from crossing among many. And those experiences, both cultures, are equally important to me. And that because I am both Cambodian and American, that doesn't make me any less one or the other. You know, I feel sometimes as a minority in America, I'm faced with this question of how can I be both? This poem argues that I can, and that my claim to identify as an American is not impeded, but rather supplemented and even supported by my Cambodian identity. I hope that this poem also inspires others to see their own identity, their own culture as not an obstacle or a blemish to their American identity, but rather as something that makes them even more American, as I consider it to be that way too.
Thank you. That is definitely a sentiment. There are a lot of us here that are from multiple cultures, and I personally have experienced that, and that's why I really find the poem really inspiring. And there's definitely more conversations that we can have from this poem. And I wish we have more time to discuss this, but hopefully this will inspire everyone to think about their own background and create a conversation in the community. But thank you for sharing the story, and thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it very much. For everyone on the call, if you'd like to read more, we will share a link to the poem and the publication. And but don't leave us yet, we're not done. We have more exciting content to come. Please stay and enjoy. Now back to you, Siobhan.
Thank you, David and Siobhan. The words that you've written and what you shared about your family and your history and your culture, you are truly the definition of resilience and passion and heart. It's beautiful. I just felt all these emotions. Again, sending you a virtual hug because I wish I could hug you. You guys are so beautiful and so talented. And you may be the next poet laureate. You guys, are you witnessing this? Family, community? Did you hear those words? I wish, and I'm an English major. And I studied poetry. You inspire me. You truly do. So to continue writing, continue sharing. And that goes to all of our leaders because you are lifting us as much as all of your mentors in the communities are trying to lift you. All the words that are being written to you, Siobhan, right now in the chat box, you're getting so much love. Hold it and know it and live it, all right? So thank you, audience members, for giving your heart and your love to our community members and our emerging leaders. Of course, as you all know, tonight's a fundraiser, and the program, the scholarships wouldn't exist without all of you, your volunteer, your work, your heart, just being there day in, day out for all the things that Ping calls you up for. So when this is all over, everything that you've listed on your food section, we're all gonna get together when COVID is quote unquote done. We have a giant picnic with everything on that list because it's about us and it's about community, right, Ping? Ping's in. Okay, you guys just remember this. We'll pick a date. So let's hear from a few of our supporters just to hear what they have seen and what they've witnessed. Thank you.
I think we can all agree that so far 2020 has been a very tough year for our communities of color. Xenophobic hate crimes against our API community, high percentages of coronavirus infections, and Black community members murdered. I have never seen a time where meaningful change that sticks is possible. I am looking to you to be an active participant in making this change. As you grow with API Forward, you will see opportunities to step out of your comfort zone. We must have API leaders in all spaces, including corporations, elected positions, nonprofits, etc., to make sure our voices are heard. Don't let these opportunities pass you by, and don't wait to be tapped on the shoulder. We are counting on you.
As an Asian American Pacific Islander, specifically a Filipina American, born and raised on the island of Molokai in Hawaii, I did not see people of power and influence, people that look like me. It took a collective sense of community to build up my confidence, to navigate through the systems of oppression that we our families, and communities face. We need to be at the table to reshape opportunities and conditions to facilitate not only healing, but change. And the biggest part of it is to realize that you can be part of the change. So please take advantage and fly.
Not only we have the COVID-19, but we have the current political climate, and so there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of community fear and so forth. Fear of the unknown. So that's why to reach out to community members like myself, and it's my role to step up and provide those services. And it's my role because we're from a collective society, and our responsibility is to help our neighbors, our family, and those that are in need.
It is important for us, especially now, to be visible and to show leadership. It is important that the API community not be overlooked and forgotten. Our cultures are vibrant, our experiences are vast. Stepping out, building bridges, building resources, and preserving our cultures will make us stronger, will make our API community stronger, and our community at large stronger. As we are fighting COVID, policies that disproportionately affect our API community, an increase in hate crime and biases against the community, the time is not for us to retreat, but to be out there, showing who we are and that we are a force to be recognized.
Culture and leadership are linked. Organizational leaders can shape and influence existing culture, such as the way people interact with one another and how they collaborate with each other to create new group norms. There are clear benefits to soft and supportive leadership styles, such as servant, participative, and transformational, which all work to create an organizational culture based on collaboration and goodwill. People want to feel valued and heard, and when they feel that way, they will work harder and make more contributions to make their mark. Good leaders will create a culture where everyone feels respected and they're part of the same team and have same goals.
Thank you for supporting API Forward. This is an organization that is critical now more than ever. So if you have an opportunity to support their scholarship program, please do so. And for those of you who are applying for scholarships, what's important is that you put your best authentic self forward. In a time of COVID-19 and the pandemic, a lot of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are being blamed for this pandemic. And if you put your best, genuine self forward, you'll be able to show the public that we are a part of the solution, not part of the problem. So do your best to support this organization in this critical time when our country is divided, and help us bring people together, not divide people. Thanks so much.
Good evening. I'm Ping Kong, President and co-founder of API Forward Foundation and President of API Forward. I'm so grateful to see all of you here. Some of you are old friends to our foundations, and some of you are new here. And guess what? We are 5 years old. So finally, we can get rid of our stinky, dirty diapers now. Yay! So we've grown since 2014, from having small fundraising event at a bank lobby to give away thousands of dollars to students. This year is such a challenging year to many of us, but we thrive on lending helping hands to support each other. In the past, when we talk about 2020, we always envision as a perfect year for big accomplishment. But it has turned out to be anything but perfect. And we have to cancel Gala in May, and without the Gala, our funding sources in jeopardy. So should we keep our heads down and declare defeat? Hell no, no way, Jose. Just like our ancestors in the past, we fought back and we moved forward, stronger and better. And I'm gonna go off the script right now because The young students here just inspire me and make me rethink about why we start API Forward. They reminded me, I'm sure many of my board directors too, why we do what we do, what is important. I mean, I'm sure many of you are tired of what's going on. We need not just new leaders, but we need leaders that are compassionate about what they do and have hearts of what they think is important. And embrace themselves. Be proud of who they are, but share. Respect others, but share. Embrace themselves and embrace other people. And that's what a good leader is about. We don't need big titles. We really don't. We just need people with heart, finding good course, and bring everybody together and move forward. And thank you to scholars. I really appreciate what you said tonight. It makes me feel good. And I'm sure all of us from API Forward feels really, really great at what we have done. Okay, I'm gonna cry now. All right, so today I'm asking for your generous support. Not just me, 2021 API Forward Leadership Program scholars are counting on you too. So take out your bank cards, credit cards, Bitcoins, if you have that, bid on online items, and donate generously. Any amount is much appreciated. I will even take your cash, checks, or gold necklaces if you have any, and if you want to drop it off at our office, I will be there to take all of this. Anything, your diamonds, your gold change, anything. All right, so we have a link. It's on a chat box. So please go there and bid generously. And once more, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, not just to the donors, but to the scholars and my board of directors. I truly appreciate you. And I'll cook for you, remember. And please give yourself a big hug today. Today is a good day to show some love and generosity. And thank you again. Good night.
Thank you, Ping, for those heartfelt remarks. You're going to make us all cry, so please don't start crying. And congratulations to the board members and volunteers of API Forward for your work in empowering our next generation of API leaders. We can definitely see and witness their growth through the years. And Ping didn't say how much they gave away, but in the last 2 years, API Forward has given away $24,000, if I am correct, is that right, to emerging leaders. And I think that's very, very phenomenal and important for us to recognize with such a young organization doing the work that they do with so much heart. And you know that Ping and Tracy, their superpower is bringing people together just like this, but collectively lifting every voice, just like all of our community leaders who spoke earlier about the importance of API Forward's work. So for all of those out there, we talk about giving, and I believe it when Ping says bring your gold, bring your diamond, bring whatever you have, Bitcoins, because she will take it, and it is important. And give what you can, but we also recognize that COVID under these times are hard. So if you can't give financially, mentor youth, lift the leaders, give your love, spend your time. Just if this is a profession that you're in and you see a young emerging leader that you can possibly talk with, have coffee with, just social distance with, please do, because your time is the most valuable in all of this, right? So as you're pulling out your credit card and donating, I hear you, I see it happening. When you're doing this, please remember and understand how important the volunteerism is, but the board members and Tracy and Ping, because they both don't ever want to be recognized. Their humility is always about everyone else. So thank you. We're gonna.
Hi, my name is Preston, and I sit on the board of directors for API Forward. The reason I joined API Forward is because of representation. I'm an avid cyclist, hiker, and snowboarder. Pacific Northwest is a great place to live because of all the countless outdoor spaces that you can enjoy, sports and recreation. And I'm here to tell you that these places belong to you as much as anyone else. So I encourage you to get out there and enjoy all of Oregon's mountains, forests, and rivers. Cheers.
Hi everyone, my name is Hua Nguyen and I'm one of the board members for API Forward. Growing up, I didn't see very many people that looked like me in leadership roles. I often wondered to myself how different my life would be if I saw more AAPI representation in the media, classroom, and our politics. So I might be revealing my age by sharing this, but growing up, one of my favorite TV shows to watch as a kid was Ghostwriter on PBS. One of the characters on the show was a Vietnamese American girl living with her traditional Vietnamese parents in the 90s of New York. It meant so much to me as a little girl to have a storyline that I can relate to so well, that I didn't feel alone in my experience. And that is why I joined API Forward as a board member, so that we can create more visibility and opportunities for the API community, especially for our youth. Leadership is about paving the space to share our stories so that others can feel empowered to step up and step out. It is important for us to be a representation in civic engagement so that we can stand in solidarity to create a better future for all of us.
Did you know Asian Americans are the fastest growing racial group in the United States, but they continue to be undercounted in the US Census? Did you know Asian and Pacific Islander visibility and leadership continue to lack in the media, government, business, and other spaces in society? In light of the pandemic, did you know there have been thousands of reports of discrimination and harassment toward Asian Americans? Hi, my name is Christian, and I'm a member of the board of directors for API Forward. The statistics and facts I mentioned serve as a difficult but necessary reminder of why I joined API Forward. Aligned with API Forward's values of inspiring, connecting, and empowering, I am committed to our mission of developing API leaders. You know, younger people are often told that they're the leaders of tomorrow. I say, why not become the leaders of today? If I can use my voice and activism to be transformative and make the world a better place, especially for the API community, then it's my privilege to use it.
Thank you, Christian, Hua, and Prescott. Those were beautiful words. And I think tonight we've learned so much about all the different various unofficial mottos that has inspired and has been in the forefront of how API Forward works. And some of the things that were mentioned is about lifting, resilience, that we don't need fancy titles. Many of your leaders, they don't even care about their titles, right? When you're working with them, what did Ping say? We need people with heart. And so as our API Forward talks about the unofficial model, which is food, fun, and friendship, right? I would add family. So it's the 4 F's that makes us amazing. Is that to remember your heart is what drives us, and your heart is what makes food, fun, and friendship and family so valuable. So I would say that with certainty, to have fun, to remember this night, and tonight's about friendship, but more importantly, food. So I want you to look at your online auction, because in there's a pandan cake that I'm fighting somebody for after this. So as a way of helping, please look at what's bidding online. We'll fight for the pandan cake. We'll fight for Ping's little 6 food tray, people, for 6. But I want you to look, there's also relaxing spa treatments. There's also the Japanese garden. There's other activities. So since we're gonna start a bidding war pretty soon, I'm getting a little hungry. So the link below is to all the little things that we are asking you to bid on and to support. Help us raise, help us support the youth and the leaders of today, or all of you. And that includes all you scholars, all you API leaders out there. Continue doing what you do. It has been a pleasure serving all of you as your MC tonight. I love so many of you beautiful faces. I'm gonna give you all a virtual hug as I take off and let Ping take over the rest of the night. So I leave you with love. I'm gonna go bid on food now.
Thank you so much, Ampon, for your continued support of API Forward and your leadership. You're truly a role model. One thing I do want to say is that when you see young people that are actually talking about what matters to them and share their experience growing up, their struggle, that really gives us hope. Right now, you know, I'm sure you all are frustrated with something that's going on right now. And to think about it, how can we change what would get us out of here, out of where we are? We need young people like that. Sorry, guys, we're putting a lot of pressure on you guys, but we need young leaders who understand and who can take us there. We're getting old, you know, we're not getting younger, so we're counting on the young generations. Sorry. All right, so I want to thank the Port of Portland for sponsoring the gala and for sticking with us as we first change the date and then the platform. And I also want to acknowledge Apano for being a community leader and for your partnership in this year's Forward Leadership Program. And to my fellow board directors, you are the heart and soul of these organizations. And I thank you for your dedication and countless hours of free labor. It's a real honor. And you know, I'll be cooking dinner for you guys soon, don't worry. And to those who joined us tonight, I'm so grateful to you for being here and donating to the cause. It means so much to us and to the students too. I cannot express the importance of your support and contributions. We need more diverse voices in leadership roles, and we need to start developing leaders now. Thank you again for your generosity. Please donate what you can and don't forget to bid, especially for my banana bread. Oh, yeah, you guys don't get to see my wonderful banana bread. I wonder, is that possible to bring out so that people can see our wonderful banana bread and AK's chocolate cake? Is that possible? Thank you so much. I hope you guys are hungry and open up your wallet right now and bid on all these wonderful items. Again, thank you so much. And let's do the last toast before we say goodnight to everyone. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Have a good night.